What do you think? If my boss is going to approve my upcoming leave plan, can I predict that? What if my another boss, my wife, is going to allow me for a solo trip on this weekend? Hmm. Well, if I had data based on which parameters my boss will approve my leave, if I have done backup plan, if I have done my job well, with my wife use case, I have to list down all those various use cases where I have really supported my wife. And if my weekend is not going to be super crazy naughty, if my kids are not going to puzzle her, not going to jump here and there, then maybe my wife will allow. If I have those weeks of data, and if I have trained my model, and then my model can answer this question. This is what my friend is supervised learning. But if I tell you, apart from fun, right? Because my boss is also very good and my wife is also good. I cannot say anything about them. That's just for fun example. But then the real example is that if I want to recognize, hey, this is apple, this is ball. So if I want to keep training my model, and if I want to make my machine, make my robot aware that, this is apple, this is ball, this is also ball. Wow, this is also ball. Yeah, I'm just out of my balls, so I'm not going to show another ball. And this is how you basically try to teach machine in a supervised way. When I say supervised, which means in supervised learning, you put labels on data. Apple label, ball label, right? And in real use cases, in reality, you can use supervised learning even to predict maybe housing price, right? So based on this area, this location, this many number of bedrooms, the housing price would be so and so amount. Then again, I just change the parameters or features, right? And then it's going to tell me, no, the house is going to cost you like this or this, right? So again, you can predict, even you can use sentimental analysis as well. That's another example which McDonald itself is using. So it's going to, whenever it wants to test their new launch product, it uses sentimental analysis a lot. So based on the user review, based on the user comment, it was very fast, it was slow, it was tasty, it was spicy. So all those words. And then if it was like, I'm just giving example here, I'm not talking about McDonald, but I'm just telling you in general, the sentimental analysis classic example is if I just take look at any review, right? And if review contains these three words, it was very fast, affordable, and tasty, then it means positive, right? It means thumbs up. It was like spicy, not okay, costly, quantity was less, then it's thumbs down, right? Here, where is my thumb? Yeah, here. So this is how you basically try to tell outcome. You label the data and you teach. This is how you teach the machine. Now if I just go to over here, basically it's just like how you teach your kid. So if you want to teach your kid, this is elephant or this is apple, you will show them tons of images. So it's not like you are going to make your child sit and then you will throw on a lot of apples and then tell your child, oh, recognize this apple, this apple, this apple. No. But with your child, by the time she was so small to gets up, right? I mean, while she gets grow big, right? She's going to see a lot of apples, a lot of various images. She's going to see a lot of images of banana, and then that's how you try to correlate with image with the label apple. So that's how you try to show. In those use cases, you will correct her as well, right? So sometimes you show broken apple, maybe you had eaten apple, and then you show, then it's still, then also she will figure out, yeah, this is again apple, but it's apple with weird shape. If it was bite, it was, I mean, you had just take a bite, right? So now this is how you teach kid, and this is how the supervised learning. Now if I go back to the next, so here the next thing is important is next thing to very important to understand is that there are three categories of SAT, right? So how you teach in terms of supervised learning, right? Again, it's a method of learning, right? It's how you teach machine, right? We are talking about machine, right? Now this is one of the way where you can teach machine, which is called supervised. So here we would be basically breaking down from your various various samples into the three categories. One is training set, second is validation set, and third is test set. So training set, so imagine you have like 1,000 of apples. I'm just giving that you have a lot of 1,000 apples. Each apple would be having different size, different color, and maybe different shape. And then out of those 1,000, you just take 80% of it, which is like 800 apples. You put aside. You just pick randomly, from 1,000, you just pick 800 apples, and then you show to those machines, those 800 images, and then machine is going to learn, right? It's same like how your kid learns over the age, right? While the time she grows, when she was born and when she was like 4 to 5 years old, right? Now she is able to pick up a lot of things, right? It's same thing. You train machines for those 800 various images of apple, and then machine understands, yeah, this is apple, this is not apple. So you even mix it up, right? So you do not show just apples, but you mix up with apple, pear, banana, so that machine is able to differentiate. No, this is not apple. Yeah, this is apple. So that 800 images out of 1,000 is becomes training set, because you are training, right? And now the second thing comes is validation set. The validation is once your training is done, then you take your children uh, to the one of the market, right? And you just ask, hey, I just taught you so far, right? That which one is apple and which one is not. Now you just show like one apple. I'm just giving example, right? Do you say this is apple or not? If it says yes, then your machine had learned very well, right? Your child has learned very well. Pradeep says, no, pa, I'm just confused. Maybe this is Apple or this is something else. I don't know. Then you need to teach child more with another new images, right? So that's what you mean. You validate and then you fine tune your hyperparameters of your model, right? Of your machine. Hyperparameters, I don't want to confuse you. Maybe that will cover a later of point of time. So you basically optimize your learning efficiency of your model. You try to optimize their learning capacity. So for that, you have some set which is around roughly 10%. So from 1,000 apples, if you're taken, then around 100 apples you will keep aside, and then 100 apples you will show. So that becomes your validation set where you just try to check your model's performance. Now comes the exam time. So imagine now your child is sitting for exam, and then your child sees a lot of apples which were never shown to her, and then she sees apples or not apple. Then she has to check by looking at image. She has to check apple or not apple, right? So that's where the testing, where you are really testing with totally a new set of images which were never shown to her. So here you are testing your child knowledge based on the training set, based on the training what you had given to your child or what you had given to your machine. That's what we call it as training, not training. So that's what we call it as test set, which is also around 10%. So like again, out of 1,000 images, you will show like 100 images to your machine, and then machine is going to validate. So this is how you will always tell the outcome that what this object is, and then by training on multiple sets, that's how the machine learns. Now, the last